Okay.
All right, call the meeting to order. Today is September 2nd, 2025. And if we would, Leah?
Before, we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, great. A few housekeeping matters. You see the doors to the left and the right, those are the emergency exits. Restrooms are out in the lobby area. And if you haven't done so already, please sign the attendance sheet. You'll note also there are some business cards on the back table, along with the proposed resolution. Phone numbers of the planning department are back there. And if you haven't done so already, either please turn off or silence your cell phone. And if you have any conversations that need to take place that don't relate directly to the application, please take it out in the hall. I don't think it's going to happen today because we have one applicant. Now, as far as the application process goes, what we'll do is we'll give the applicant an opportunity to make the presentation. And what we like to do and prefer is not to interrupt the applicant unless absolutely necessary. So when we start asking questions, we would ask that you do the same. So don't interrupt us. Why? Because Amber's over here taking the minutes, and she's going to do a great job as long as we don't talk over each other. So it's that who's saying what and who to where and how, all that kind of good stuff. If you have exhibits that you want to refer to, just let us know, and Susie will put them up on the screen, and you can you should have it over there, a pointer, and point away at what you want us to look at. Please stay by the microphone, because if you start drifting around again, it won't pick up very well on the recording. If you have a new exhibit, just let us know it's new. We'll take a look at it, we'll mark it, and we'll go from there. All right, that should cover that piece of business. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes of August 4th, 2025. As long as everyone's had a chance to review, I would entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to move.
Leah, a second.
Second.
Patrick, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carried. All right. Also, for the record, Larry is necessarily absent. So we have 4 members with us today. All right. DeMario, did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you are not Mr. DeMario.
I am not Mr. DeMario. Mr.
You are?
DeMario has the pleasure of being home with our 7, 4, and 2-year-old this evening, so I lucked out.
Okay.
So thank you for the opportunity to come and meet with you all tonight. And as you can see, and I know you've reviewed already, our request is for a variance for a shed that my husband and I built. I will say my husband and brother-in-law built. So we've been residents since 2019, and in 2020, I believe, yes, 2020, we had an in-ground pool installed, at which time we went through, obviously, the codes and, inspection process, and then had subsequently a fence installed around the perimeter of our backyard as well. And unfortunately, we did not think to look into the zoning and requirements for a shed because we purchase a shed kit that we could build ourselves, and just sort of thought if we're inside of our property line, that would make sense. Unfortunately, that is not the case. So right now, it is located right on our property line, which is where the fence is. And we selected that spot for a couple of reasons. It's a non-electric. It doesn't have any electrical, there's nothing else in the shed. It's really just an accessory shed that's used for lawn and pool equipment and our kids', sporting and outdoor equipment. So it's really just for storage purposes, and the reason we selected the area we did is after our pool installation and the fence installation and everything with the grading that was done in our backyard, that's kind of the only level spot that we had. Also close proximity to our back deck, just kind of easy to get into. So that's why we selected the spot that we did, trying to keep it out of the way as much as possible. When I met with Frank and discovered that, again, unfortunately, as we did not look into the regulations in advance, it is too close to our property line. My concern with moving the shed, couple of things, obviously the labor and cost and intensive activity of moving the shed from its current location, but also just kind of placing it into more of a central space in our yard would require, I just feel like it would be kind of an eyesore into the spots that we could move it. We have spoken with neighbors. Every neighbor we've spoken with is, fine with the current location of where it is. Trying to think of what else I can speak to for you. I think that's kind of the general overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions you
Okay,
have for
so
me.
let me just back up just a little bit.
Sure.
Susie, if you could put up the criteria. Okay, so this is what the board, this is what their duty is. We're legally
Sure.
responsible for doing a fact-finding exercise. And the questions that we're going to ask usually are fit in or looking at one or all of the 1 through 5. Let's go backwards a little. 5.
Yeah.
Is it self-created? It is. You put it there,
Right.
but that's not a fatal, you don't need all of them. It's a
Okay.
balancing
Yeah.
exercise. So doesn't necessarily mean that because you put it there and it was self-created, means that, no, you don't get the variance. We look at really the other 4 and give
Sure.
that a fair amount of time. So it's going to change the character of the neighborhood. Is it significant? Significant deals with how much of an ask are you asking for? You're supposed to be 5 feet away, and you're right on the property line, so you need a fair amount of distance. If you were to comply with the code, it'd be 5 feet or more away. That's what that's driving at. Is there a feasible way to do it to comply with the code? I'm looking at number 2. So with those questions we'll be asking have to deal with, what other options do you have? I'm explaining because I'm guessing,
Yeah.
this is the first time you've been in
Yes.
front of us. Okay.
Yes.
So don't be nervous. That's the kind of questions we're going to ask, and it's usually derived at
Yeah.
1 through 4. Okay?
Yeah,
Great.
thanks.
Super. Leah, you got some questions?
Okay. So you said the shed is within the boundaries. So when you came to the town to put in the fence, because you had the pool, so it's right on on your property line, or is it a little in?
So, to my remembering correctly, our fence is just inside of our property
Inside, yeah.
line, because I think it had to be like an inch or so. Is that correct? I feel like, yeah. I think it's an inch inside the property line, and then the shed is like an inch inside of that. So it is very close. I mean, it's right up against, I think I included a picture in my
And
application. It's
yeah, I
right
s-
up against the
right,
fence.
I saw
to be.
the one picture.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are the dimensions of the height? So first, how high is the shed, excuse me?
Yeah, it's 10 feet.
And 10 feet high, and the width,
It's-
let's go like where the door opens. to the
Sure.
shed? We'll use that for the width,
I think that that's 36 inches,
36 inches.
because
yeah.
it's a double door that opens.
And the depth
It's also 10 feet.
in feet. So in your letter that you wrote, in item 2, you stated there would be limited walkability if moved. So from what I saw in the, documents and the map, I know on the ones, you can't put it on one side of the pool because there's no room at all there, it's not feasible.
No.
But this is like the closest to your house, and that's what you said. And I see that there's a tree, like right in back of where the shed is, or right next to it. Why didn't you put it like, more towards the backyard instead of that close?
Honestly, just so that there would be more room in the backyard for kids, playing, like, my kids like to play soccer a lot, so that was kind of having this in the back, again, it's not super like slopey, it's just when they graded, it kind of graded down from the pool. So we didn't think of that at the time when the fence was being installed and everything else. But now that you're there and kind of living in it, it's sort of, okay, do we pay to have someone come and regrade all of this and then redo the grass and everything so that all of that is level as well? And then, potentially have put the shed out there. That would cut off their, playing area, kind of. And also wanted it a little bit closer to the garage. On the side of the house where the fence is into the backyard, that's kind of where we access things to get to the garage. So when we're sort of switching out summer to winter, items that are stored, that makes it easier to get to. Is
And
it
it is-
impossible to get to the back of the yard? No, of course not. But that was sort of our justification with putting it there.
And do you have like a door from your garage? Not a garage door for the
We
cars,
don't,
but
no, just
Go to
in the
back.
front. So it's the front of the garage. We have to walk around the back, so it's sort of making it further to go
So
further.
you can, on the side of your house,
Mm-hmm.
you can walk around in your yard to get to this shed
Yes,
in front. So that's where, like you said, you would switch things out between
Yeah.
seasons. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and you did mention in your letter, you keep your lawnmower in there and like
Yeah.
pool equipment. So what do you keep like the cans of gasoline for the lawnmower? What else? Anything for the pool? The chlorine.
the pool, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. But I'm more looking at. I know, like pool. I don't know if equipment is the right word, but
Yeah.
pool things. But do you keep any, like the chlorine or things like that in the shed, or do you keep that in the garage?
So the pool chemicals, so the chlorine, the shock, those are all in like airtight, sealed, childproof, to be honest, containers. So those are kept in the shed, along with the kind of winterization accessories for the pool. So like the safety cover, the pool skimmer, the vacuum stuff is kept in there. And then in the winter, we have all of our, lawn furniture that kind of comes
Right.
inside of that. So we do have a snow blower. Actually, the snow blower's not in the shed. It's too heavy. But we do have a push lawnmower that we keep in there. The gasoline, my husband keeps in the garage. So that's in there.
Okay, that's all for now. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Patrick, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I actually think Leah's questions kind of were in line with it. So I'm just trying to figure out around the yard, how much space approximately is between, like the rear lot and the pool?
So, I'm sorry, you're talking at like if we're looking at it right, let me
Trying to
use
think
this.
directional.
If you're saying from here to here? Oh, no, that's actually perfectly fine. So from here to here is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I'll be honest with you, I don't know that this scheme is totally,
Might not have the pool in it.
yeah, the pool's in it, but I don't feel like there's that much space.
Okay.
Didn't it say 31.9 feet?
Yeah. So that's,
That's my question. Yeah, is it 31.9?
this is where it kind of like right around here, that's where it starts to kind of slope back. Again, just from the grading.
Yeah.
from-
And then on the, Leah's question about the tree, I mean, how tall is the tree? Like, is it a big tree if
It's
you
a
need
huge
it?
tree.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a question that came to mind right now. I'm good for now.
You want to circle back?
Yeah.
I certainly can. For a note, as I was looking at this picture, and I'm going to go to Matt in a second. Property line or the issue is measured not from the building structure, but from the eave. So as I look at one of your pictures, that eave gutter is either right on the fence or it looks like it might even be over the fence. So
Okay.
that's the distance we need to measure it from. If you follow where we're,
Yeah.
right, Adam, that's still how we measure things, is from the, it would be from the gutter, then moving away from the property. And you have, thank you for the picture, it helps.
Sure.
So go ahead, Matt, questions?
Mike, just to clarify, it's the eave, not the gutter. So the gutter's,
Sorry, it's the gutter is,
the eave is part of the structure.
yeah,
The gutter's an attachment.
okay.
So it's from the eave.
No, it's still, it's close. It's either right on that fence or, that's what we're looking at. So you're either on it or within inches. Okay. Thank you. Matt?
Is there a gutter on the back side of the shed?
I think so.
Okay, the drainage then from the roof then would kind of drain onto the neighbor's property a little bit
Yeah.
there? Okay. Actually, I had a question for Adam. Is there anything in the building or fire code that if the neighbor went to do something like put a shed there 5 feet away, meeting the setback, or something else that would be prohibited because their shed is at zero, basically?
So Frank made a comment about a fire code section about separation distance of combustible materials, which is 10 feet from a lot line. The state fire code allows an exemption where the fire code official can determine the hazard does not exist. So our local law already allows a lesser setback in cluster subdivisions of 5 feet from a property line.
Yep.
And I think the intent when they created that code was if this person's 5 feet and this person's 5 feet, you have that 10-foot of separation distance, which is the intent of the fire code. So it could potentially, if the neighbor was to put a shed in a code-compliant location of 5 feet, then they would only have a fire separation distance of 5 feet.
Not meeting the 10 foot, so it could be 10, 20, down the line, it could be something that impacts what the neighbor, okay. What would be entailed in moving the shed? So I understand, like, if you didn't get the variance, say, and you had to move this shed, is the shed in a position where you could have someone come in and the shed could just be like picked up and moved, or would you literally have to dismantle the entire shed and rebuild it?
I think theoretically, we could probably have someone come in with a Kubota and, relocate the shed. I'll tell you that financially, I think we would just deconstruct the shed. Just having kind of gone down that road with the pool installation, I'm really not in a position to do that right now. I will pay more to do that than I did to buy the shed and build it myself. So that's, I probably wouldn't, we probably would try to disassemble what we could and move it. However, it's sort of also an aesthetic thing and a, ability to move around in the yard with the size of it, having it be in that much, it just would take up a big chunk of, kind of what we're used to having, and also kind of the least desirable location from an access point to get to the things that, we're using it for.
Okay.
And when I say that, I'm kind of talking about, I think the only place we could put it theoretically would be in that far back, corner.
All right, and then that's then my last, okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like I'm just trying to understand the easement on this survey. Looks like there's a 20-foot easement, but it probably splits the property line, so you're back, it's 5 foot onto your property, I think it looks like, from what I can tell. Okay. Yeah, because the easement's 20 foot in width, covers 15 on your neighbor, and then 5 on yours. Okay. All right, that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to go on things that, my experience, I had a company build a 10 by 20 shed for me at a property that, Star Lake House, right, out Canisius. You can't, they didn't want to construct it, so they build it, they take it off the truck, and it was amazing how they put some wheels on this thing and weaved it down the driveway and just set it ever so gently there, almost effortlessly. I don't know what the machine is called. It can be done. So as long as it's not, affixed to the ground.
Yeah.
Is it on gravel,
No, it's on, like
blocks?
blocks, slats, I don't really know what it's.
Yeah, so I'm hesitant to agree with you on that it's cost prohibitive to move it.
Sure.
And I can see, at least in the pool area, you're working with about, what's my math? 48 or so feet of width in the backyard. If you were to comply with the code, give up 5, you still have 43 feet back there to the kids to run around and play. I'm concerned when someone says, well, it's aesthetics. That really doesn't fit into any one of those categories. It's
Yeah.
usually when we're looking at variances, and we might grant it because the slope is so steep that you just can't put the shed or the garage or whatever it is that they want to put there. Or there's a tremendous amount of trees there, it would be cost prohibitive to take all, those kinds of things. But I know the neighborhood very relatively well. I've driven by enough times that, like, okay, I'm not quite sure. There are sheds there. We have granted some variances back in there, right on that property line. And to what Adam was saying is that someone wants to put a shed right next to yours, someone's going to have a problem, right? If they both put them there, let's say your neighbor said, I want to put a shed exactly on the opposite side of the fence where yours is, and it's a foot apart, now that's not complying with the intent of the code. And if you put yours 5 feet away and they're put their 5 feet away, and if by some chance a fire were to occur, it's made of wood, it's combustible, bad things wouldn't happen. You might lose the shed, but the fence and the house and everything else. So that's my concern about why it may not be a good idea to put it right there and to move it away from that fence. Just you got to do a little more convincing for me on why
Yeah,
you need it right there.
It's not so much it's not just the aesthetic aspect of it or it's not just the part about the moving it, it's what I know needs to happen in the backyard in order for it to be in a level spot. So if we leave the grading of the yard the way it is now, it will be in the center of that back. It won't be level if it goes in the back corner. So it's not so much the paying to have it moved, it's the paying to have the lawn regraded. When we did the pool project, we didn't really understand that the way that they leave the pool graded is just sort of like, here's your pool and here's your yard. And then it's up to you to decide how you're going to manage the yard after that. So then you have to hire them to come in and, level what they can, but it still has to be, graded away from the pool. So that's sort of the rub, is that it can't go back, you know, here's the fence and here's the fence in the back, and you just come in 5 feet from that, because it would then be like this. So that's sort of it's not so much we have to pay to move it, it's the pay to move
Right.
it and do everything else.
I don't think I've ever been in a backyard, front yard, anywhere around here where it's level.
That's true.
So when you say, it's all relative. So if it's off by a foot or two, again, referring to my shed that I have, the slope was different from the front corner to the opposite corner by about 6-7 inches. We put 4x4s, I put 4x4s in, so to accommodate for that slope, you build up one side of it, put the gravel in there, so it's on a platform of gravel, and the 4x4s kept the gravel in there, so even though the ground is sloping, it was situated in a position that it accommodated a level place for the shed without changing necessarily the lay of the land.
Sure.
Knowing that, could you tell me how much that slopes? Is it more, if you were to move that shed in compliance with the code, whether it be towards the pool or towards the back of your lot line, would you need, I'm trying to describe, would you
Yeah.
need more than, is it a foot off, 2 feet off,
No,
more?
I feel like it's probably between a foot and a foot and a half as far as like but I'm trying to think of how far exactly.
Sure,
You know, how much distance that is. It's not like, it's not like this and then just one tiny little spot. So, you know what I mean? I think it's a gradual, I'm trying to think of like the
Okay.
lowest point.
Going from front to back though, or back to front? So would the front of it be higher than the back, so you could build up?
No, it would be the side. I think the way we would probably put it would be the side.
The grades running across the shed and not, I'm just trying to understand what side you would have to lift up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would depend which way we angled, or, you know, put
If the shed faced your house,
Mm-hmm.
would you just be raising up the back wall of it then?
no, I think the left side and the back wall.
Left hand, okay, so it's kind of at an angle.
Yeah,
All right, Adam, do you know that? All right, so what we've done in this kind of situation is a couple of things, and I'll ask the board what they think in a moment, but the idea is a topo map. Sometimes when you look at it, it's got these circles in it, and it tells a surveyor, or the surveyor creates it, how that slope of the land is and how it looks on the elevation slopes. You know what I'm referring to, or not?
I
All
think
right.
so, yeah.
Okay, so that could give us some indication about how steep the land is or how much it slopes, whether or not it can be moved. The other thing we could think about doing is if you were to contact someone in construction who has the equipment and to say, look, could you give us an estimate on if we were to move the shed from where it is to 5 feet or someplace over and accommodate for that slope? How much would it cost? It's going to, I'm sure there's, whether it be grading or 4x4s or stone, whatever it is, and that might give us some idea of whether or not it's feasible.
sure.
So before I ask the board, would you be interested in that kind of further fact-finding?
I mean, if that's what you're asking us to do, then certainly, you know,
Well, you certainly could say, no, I don't want to do that, and then we vote, and you may not like the answer. So I'm not threatening you by any means, it's just
No.
we're trying to figure out how to do this, right?
yeah, yeah. I think I'm just struggling with the fire code aspect of it, with sort of the justification. And I had this conversation with Frank too, you know, just sort of I mean, candidly, it's a fire. If it's a fire, it doesn't really care if it's 5 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet, perhaps. So I understand the goal of it is to do 5 on each side, so it becomes 10. So I don't think it would ever be a situation if a neighbor were to construct a fence in that exact spot if theirs is 5, it's already 5. It's not, I don't think they would probably be granted the same variance of a, right on the fence or right on the property line thing. I certainly, if that's, I'm
Okay,
I'm
let's-
struggling with how to answer that because.
That's fine, hold that thought a sec. Leah, what do you think? Is it something that you'd be interested in knowing about really what's the lay of the land, the slope? Is it feasible to move it? How much? Those kind of questions.
I think we should look into if it can be moved, because I do have two concerns, and I can state them after, you poll everybody else, as far as keeping it where it is, so I would want to see more information.
Okay, Matt, what do you think?
I would agree. I typically try to get to each site also before the meeting with the holiday and everything. I didn't get a chance here, and then with it being fenced in, I'd actually like to come,
Sure.
go in your backyard, like meet you guys, be able to actually look at it myself and just kind of visually get a better look at it as well. So yeah, I think getting
Yeah.
more information.
I'm there with them. Yep.
Okay. So I think we're in the same camp of, if we were to try and make a decision today, there's some important pieces that, especially that first criteria, and even the second, on is there a feasible way to put the shed in your backyard without the need for a variance?
Sure.
So it's our due diligence, if you will.
Sure.
So hold the thought. So you're concerned about it being too close, Leah. You wanted to add something?
So you satisfied my questions about combustibles being stored in there, so, that you totally made me feel comfortable with it, and the pool chemicals are in a sealed container, so that's fine. But being that it's like very close to the tree and also close to the house, that if there's a fire, and not saying it's going to be caused by combustibles because it's not there, but whatever, you have the fence that could catch fire, the tree, and it's just like, it seems like it could be a perfect storm for the house to catch on fire. So that's why I'm concerned where it is. I think it would be better in the backyard in the corner. That's just my opinion. Now, the other thing, when Matt brought up about the gutter going into the neighbor's yard, because if any rain runoff or something goes into the neighbor's yard, that really shouldn't be. Your current neighbor maybe doesn't have a problem, but maybe a future neighbor
Right.
does. But even it could be some, big rainfall or something that causes an issue that wouldn't be there if that shed wasn't there. So those are just the two
Sure.
concerns I have.
Yeah.
Other than that, I understand that you have it, it's close to your backyard. It's easier for you to get to the garage, you have that space in the back. But those are two concerns about it. As far as like the state fire code and the local fire code with the combustible stored in there, I'm satisfied you met that.
Okay, super.
One other thing I wanted to, just more in regards to fact finding, like one thing I not struggle with, but I think about when thinking about a variance is if we did grant just the variance for you to go to the 0 and then 6 months down the line, one of your neighbors comes and wants to do the same thing, they can point to this and say, well, in this neighborhood, you guys let our neighbors do a 0 and we're the same reason. So trying to find reasons why your property is unique and why it's a unique circumstance to
Sure.
allow it definitely goes to help justify where you can say to someone else, yes, but they had a great issue, they had this issue or that issue, and they couldn't do it anywhere else, versus we just let it go, and then,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden you could wind up with 3, 4, 5, 6 sheds all on property lines, and then it
Right.
kind of starts to change what the neighborhood is a little bit.
Sure.
That's just one thing I try to look at as well.
Yeah,
just to let you know.
definitely.
Anything else you want to add, Patrick? Okay. Susie? Anybody online? Okay. Anyone here want to speak for or against the application? That's a formality. I just got to say that. Okay, so with that, I think you're hearing the board ask, it's not a mandate, it is a request to have you do a little more homework and find out. You certainly can pick a contractor. There's people that you see all around town, I suppose, that have those sheds that they will build them for you and deliver them and put, they may help. So hopefully there's some ideas out there of contractors that could give you an idea of how much is it going to cost to move it. And if it can be in writing, something says estimate with their name on it, so we know that, you didn't go to your next door neighbor and get,
Right, no, no,
you'd be surprised what people will do. So something that looks official.
sure.
Questions?
I think one question I have, just sort of back to your follow-up, Leah, I just want to make sure, if, I don't think it would work for us to leave it in the current location, but 5 feet away from the fence, just because of the, walking. But with respect to your question about, if there was potentially a fire, is there anything about that location, the location that it's currently in? Like, is there anything about proximity to the house or trees, or it's just,
I think it's a combination of both. It's
Sure.
next to a fence, it's combustible,
right,
and what Adam was talking about earlier, that if your neighbor decides to build a structure so similar, right opposite of where you are, now you're going to have a situation where the intent of the code isn't being followed. We're here to look at the code, and if there is, a variance is a way of saying it's an exception to the rule, an exception to that law.
yeah,
But we can't, as a board, just completely re-legislate, recreate the law. It's not our job. The town board does that.
yeah, no, I just want to make sure if, we removed shrubbery or something, that's sort of on the other side of the deck, if we moved it in its current location, if we were able to move it forward to meet that 5-foot code, which again, I don't know if we could do that with walking wise. I just want to make sure that if that would be acceptable in its current,
There's not a separation distance requirement.
okay,
For a shed that size.
Sure.
For your shed next to your house. I think the intent of the code is to protect adjacent property.
oh, okay,
Okay.
okay,
so,
that makes sense.
There are separation distance requirements when you get to accessory structures of a certain size,
Sure,
but that shed is not
okay.
one of them.
Okay, again, I don't think that would work, and I think if we were to move it, it would have to be, in order to get around it, we'd have to move it into a different spot. I just want to make sure that I'm thinking if I get a quote from someone, what would it be to move it here and then potentially do any other work with like the landscaping aspect of it so that we could walk, and then a second quote to what would it be to do the grading and whatnot in the back, just so I have both of those numbers, but I don't want to get the first one if we couldn't actually do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think we're all on the same page. Explore some ideas.
Sure.
And it's not an all or nothing either. If the contractor were to say, it's like, I can't do 5, but I can do 4.
Okay,
But that reasoning, it's like, well, we can't do 5 because why? And 4 would be the best. All right, that's information that's valuable to us on our duty is, if we were to grant a variance, is to grant the minimal amount possible.
sure,
Questions?
all right. I think so.
If there are, certainly give the planning department, Amber, and shoot an email, and we can certainly address it accordingly. The next meeting that we have would be September 15th,
Okay,
right? What I would offer is, because I think this is a smaller variance request, we have 2 more that are a bit complicated. And I think what I'd like to do is put you in the front, so you don't have to sit around and listen for, I think it's going to be a longer meeting, is what I'm driving at. Unless you want to say, oh, no, I would rather do the meeting after that, which is what, October 6th.
I think either one is fine.
If you need, because it's only a couple of weeks. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
need some time,
Okay.
I'd rather get the
Yeah.
information as
It might be
accurate.
better to do that, so I
Okay.
could, just
All
in
right, let's put
case
you on
there's
for the
any
6th.
delay with, yeah,
Yep,
people
that's fine.
coming out. Okay,
That works.
okay.
All right?
What is the acreage of your whole property? I don't think, I looked, I didn't see it on here.
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can find out for that too.
Yep, I don't see it there. All right, other questions?
No, I don't think so.
We good? Everyone good? Super. All right, good. Then we will see you on October 6th.
Okay, thank
Good.
you.
Thanks so much for your
Appreciate it.
patience.
Thanks.
Right, I think that's it for today. Anyone have anything else before the board?
No.
Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion?
Q in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Beautiful, thanks so much. Have a good evening, everyone.
Two.
Sure.
Ever